What is clear from this audit is that there were reckless spending and lax travel policies allowed for thousands of dollars to be wasted on lavish meals, instances of double and triple dipping, and inappropriate reimbursements for charges of hotel rooms that went unused. And I just received a copy, Mr. Zine, you shared with me a copy of a letter that was provided this morning that said these were not federal dollars. Well, the only way that they were able to receive those dollars is because they were a federal agency. And I don't care what dollars they are, and I think you said this today as well, Mr. Cardenas, what dollars they are taxpayer dollars ultimately, and are somehow benefited from the people of our city. I believe that Los Angeles taxpayers were not being served by the housing authority officials who claimed to serve the poor, but instead recklessly wasted public money to support lavish lifestyles and ways in which have been put out by the media and by our audit you see today. Angelenos deserve better. There should be zero tolerance for this out-of-control spending that borders on fraudulent activity. The first part of my audit uncovered numerous unallowable and excess costs. A sampling of expenditures revealed thousands of dollars of questionable travel expenses, including a public safety representative was approved to drive an agency vehicle to San Diego and instead paid airfare exceeding gas cost, and then left the conference early to fly to Chicago, unnecessarily charging a night in a hotel that was not used. HACLA board member paid costs for other travelers who were not HACLA staff, but for whom executive approvals were not provided. Planning representative had meals paid in excess of $1,000, which is above the allowed per diem. These charges did not identify the individuals that are present, what was consumed, because there is a very clear, for the city of Los Angeles, you cannot use that for the purchase of alcohol, and if there was any business transacted at that meeting. Also, planning representatives had excess meal costs for triple dipping for meals, where they were not only charged them on their P card, also then asked for reimbursement, and then thirdly, there actually was meals provided as part of the conference. It also questioned a no-show hotel charge in Chicago because they were actually in Philadelphia for another conference. In addition, there was board members who did not prepare appropriate forms and only gave minimal receipts for hotel and baggage fees. They seldom provided receipts and instead just signed a certification that said all of the funds that were used were for the purposes of the housing authority. I released some of my preliminary audit findings a few weeks ago, which revealed that agency officials had spent $300,000 per year on travel in 2009 and 10. I highlighted irregular travel expenditures, including reimbursements for sightseeing tours. HACLA's policies are outdated, unclear, and difficult to understand because there was no one minding the store. Whistleblower complaints about questionable spending practices in other parts of the agency made it clear that the agency leadership created an environment for wasteful spending and fraudulent activity. So as we've been moving forward and acutely aware of the problems and serious problems that are created within the department, we had trouble getting some of the information, entrance agreement, and numerous obstacles. I have to say it was a hostile environment in which we were operating, and delay tactics that were used. But we persevered to make sure that we were able to complete this audit. And during the course of my audit, many red flags were put up, and we have been in conversation with the new president of the commission, Mitch Kamen, who's agreed to a full-fledged audit, which we believe is important to ensure to the public that the dollars that are being spent, again, whether it is federal dollars or some benefit that has been made by federal dollars, it should not be spent on these lavish kinds of activities and unfathomable. There's no documentation behind it. As you all know in this room, we have strict rules within the city of Los Angeles about whether or not you can be reimbursed and how that works. So I appreciate the support of the council, and particularly Councilmember Zine and Councilmember Cardenas, and Mitch Kamen, the new president of the commission, to move forward to begin the second phase of my investigation and to ensure that taxpayer dollars are watched over, and that we will never get into a situation like this before, where there are no checks and balances, where a executive of an agency can send down to the rest of his staff that this kind of behavior is acceptable. It is not acceptable.